With sectional title, it's things like flats, buildings, and in those buildings, they are sectionalized. By sectionalized, it means Unit 1 has got its own title, Unit 2 has got its own title, so on and so forth, but all of them fall under the same yard, right? So in the township, the reason why it's difficult to sectionalize the properties legally, because most of those properties don't have parking allocation. So with a sectionalized property, you must provide things like parking. You must ensure that every unit that's there, because if all 15 people buy a car, where are they gonna park their cars? That's why regulation doesn't allow you to be able to rezone the property, because with every rezoning, you must be able to provide parking allocation. Yeah. So when you say, how can we take advantage of it in the township? Perhaps what would work is you taking those old industrial units that would be factories that have big yards and converting those into dwelling apartments. Then that allows you to then provide parking.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much, my lady. We jumped straight into it. But I just wanted to say that let's break the cycle of consumption. We've been consuming information all the time. If you've been networking, kudos to you. That means you started being critical with thinking about the content that you have been consuming. So I'm encouraging that everybody asks very intelligent questions, because Witness has a lot of content online, and I realized that he answers a lot of the questions. So for you to stimulate something different out of him that's different from the content that's out there, just try to be very critical, ask the questions that you are really here for, and hit it on the nail. We can continue with the questions. I see it on that side.
I'd like to thank this opportunity that I received. Actually, I wanted to ask how do you identify the investors when you plan a business? Like, for example, maybe you have a quarter of the amount to open the business that is required. Then to get the other investors, how do you expose yourself to get those investors?
So there are different kinds of investors, right? There are individual investors, there are business investors, and there are institutional investors. So the size of your business will determine which kinds of investors that you're going to go for, right? In your plan, you can't go borrow 100,000 from an institution as an investor, I'm not talking about a loan. I'm talking about from an institution, because the institution will perhaps give you guidelines in terms of the amount of money they invest in businesses. By institution, I mean venture capital companies. I mean companies that are directly working with companies or entrepreneurs to be able to fund them in order to get equity out of their businesses. Now, if you are saying you want an investor, it also means you are willing to let go of equity of the business. By equity, I mean shares or what you own within the business. Because you cannot say, I want investors, but I'm not willing to give anything. So by the word saying I want investors, it means you're also willing to let go of a certain share or percentage of your business so that those investors can come in. And in fact, some investors might not provide you with monetary value immediately, but there could be people that are able to open certain doors for you in certain spaces where funding is facilitated and is available. So you have to look at that and say, okay, I've got a quarter of the money. Am I looking for a partner, someone that's going to help me operate the business, or I'm looking for someone to just invest in the business and I operate the business and I pay them a dividend?
I think that's very awesome. You're reminding us of Shark Tank, some of those episodes, including, if you didn't know, there's a show called Maurice Lemonis. He goes around investing in people, but for equity, and then he can spin your money, your income and your whole business. So I believe that's the concept you're speaking about, right?
Correct. Yes.
So if you want growth, and you need to invest first in your own investor for them to invest back in you. So I think that was very awesome. Any other question around investment and property, maybe to be specific? My lady here.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for talking up, Mr. Siwe. I just wanted to know, what are the do's and don'ts in terms of, I don't know how to structure the question, but auctions when it comes to properties, which avenues to tackle, and pros and cons.
And don't buy a property you've never seen. That's the thing about auctions. Sometimes you're buying something you've never seen and it might be occupied, especially if it's a residential property. I feel like it's a lot easier to buy a commercial property on auction because most of the time it's business owners and they're willing to let go of the property if the court says so. With the family, it's a bit difficult to take them out because anyone that you evict, you must provide alternative accommodation for them. So there are people who successfully do auctions. So I feel like that question, I'm not fully equipped to answer it because I don't buy anything on auction, right? I prefer not to because I don't want to fight the battles. I don't want to, right? But maybe there are people who say, I'm willing to go through the entire process. I know a guy who buys properties in the township. If you don't want to move out, he breaks down the house. That's illegal, but he's doing it. So he's willing to handle the stress. If he goes there, the community messes with him. He waits a few months, he comes back, he breaks down his house. He says it's his house. He can do whatever he wants. But it's because he's buying it with the purpose of actually demolishing it and building units. That's his strategy. So everybody must have a strategy. Your strategy tells you what you need to do.
Thank you so much for that. Can we take one this side, please, and then we can come back? The paining questions. Maybe the ones that hits the pocket a lot and that removes fear.
Fear.
Yeah, because if you're in doubt, you have fear to execute, right?
Hello, my name is Anina, and I have 2 questions, if you will allow me. So the first one, we touched on it a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to know, are there any red flags that landlords would have for you to proceed with doing an Airbnb, other than it's not being allowed by the body corporate? And 2, I don't have the property language to ask this, but I hope it makes sense. Like, what type of conversations are you having with a potential property management company if you have the desires to, like, you own a property and you want it to not only cover the expenses, but ultimately pay you as well, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Can you repeat the last question?
Okay, so I wrote it down and I'm going to read it how I wrote it down. What type of conversation are you having with a property management company if you want a property to cover all your costs and additional funds?
It's not up to a property management company. It's up to your strategy. The property management company is not going to do anything for you except look after the asset. Their job is to look after the asset, right? Your job is to make profit. And the best way for you to make a profit, you must have a strategy. And the strategy will determine what you invest in.
Is there any way you can
No, you can't outsource your profit-making scheme. Nobody's going to help you make profit. You must have a strategy. And the best way to outsource is to have a mentor. The mentor will sit down and say, what's the strategy? How do we achieve your strategy? Because some strategies, people are doing buy-to-let, as an example. They're buying, they're letting it out. But some are buying it on auction so that they can let it out. Some are buying in the township and building units. Some are buying in old white, some are converting them. Some are buying buildings. Then the units become cheaper because you bought it in a building. Then you're able to get your money from the rentals. So every strategy is going to be different. Not every property is going to make you money, right? And then the one about Airbnb, for instance, what are the red flags that landlords are looking for? If you're someone that clearly doesn't demonstrate capacity to pay them their money, they're not going to take you. And you obviously need to be upfront with them and offer them more than what the usual rental is if you're going to do business at their property.
Okay. We can have a question in the front, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much. Can I stand up because this one is personal and I'm taking it seriously?
It's also a sign of confidence.
My name is Paula Malega. I drove all the way from the Val, from the Bay. So it took me over an hour to be here, maybe for this question. And my question is, okay, and then where I am, the area where I am, I'm being sandwiched by 2 universities, VUT and Northwest. So I saw a gap and I've got 2 properties there that I can say they are fully paid. We are accommodating students and we're being paid by NSFAS. Then I want to take that and give them to my daughter. I come from Limpopo, so I want to retire to go home. Yeah. My question is, around when you mention retirement, it looks like the retirement thing is like, why do you retire? So in my 60s, I've actually passed my 60s, so I was thinking of going and retire. So now my question to you is, what is enough for you? Because I'm like, I want to. When I saw you one day on your podcast, I bought a land because of you. I bought a land. In Limpopo as my castle for retirement. Because in Limpopo, I'm like, okay, I want to tax and raise what if you find a land, you build, but the market is there, but the costing are low, and that's my retirement settlement for me. So what would be your advice? Because I was thinking of doing that as a retirement, but looks like you are not going to retire in your life. So what must I do? That's my first question. My last question is, if I have, because I bought 2 lands, the other land I want to maybe to say, you save, come and buy a land here in this community. There is no people buying, going to jail first to go and buy.
And to build a shop right there, a center.
What are the what documentation must I prepare? Thank you so much.
Wow.
Congratulations on the work that you've done already, Mama. That's amazing and it's humbling to hear. And then secondly, the question around what is enough? I think enough becomes enough when you are doing it all for yourself. But it doesn't become enough the minute you want to touch other people's lives, because that requires you to have more. To be able to touch more lives, you must do more. Understand? And in your 60s, I can imagine there's still a lot of life in you. The fact that you are also thinking of developing a shopping center in Jane Fairs, I believe that's God speaking to you saying there's more that you can do. You've done that. Is it the end of what you've done? Or is there opportunity? Who can you speak to? In every retail company, there's someone called a business development manager. And within them, if you look for one from head office, they'll be able to give you guidelines whether or not they can bring a store to where you are envisioning putting a store. So before you even start building, you can bring them, they'll do their market analysis, which is important. It's going to assist you as well. Market analysis allows you to know what you can put in an area, what you cannot put in an area, and whether or not their store will be successful. By the way, I've got an uncle who's a developer, right? And he's built shopping centers. And he said to me, you have to have a heart with this shopping center thing. I said, why do you say that? And he said to me, a retailer will come into your shopping center as an anchor tenant. They pay you 50,000 rent, but they make 10 million. So you must be willing to accept that I've just created an avenue for someone to make 10 million and give me 50,000.
And that could be enough, if enough is enough for you.
If enough is enough. Yes, because you remember she asked, what's enough? Yeah. So if that's enough for her, she must allow it to be enough.
Yes.
Her heart mustn't be so that ShopRite is making 10 million.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mama, for that interesting questions. We're going to take 2 more intelligent, very in-depth questions. We'll take my lady here in the front and we'll take at least one at the back this side. Please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. We highly appreciate the time and everything else that you are investing in us. This one is to be private. I could be video and anything because it's quite personal. So, how do you now salvage yourself in a situation where you are so indebted and no one is basically employed, or whatever you get is quite limited to your, basically your expenditures exceed your income. And whatever you try, you just get a drag. You start selling this, now whatever that you get needs to do all the, the household things, you pay school fees, you pay for transport, and then whatever you get, again, there's something that surfaces. So how do you move out from that situation? And now you've got this house that is in debt as well, where now the bank is threatening you, and you've got these rooms that you built and they're not complete. So
is your house in the township?
yes, opportunity.
Okay.
So one thing we all should understand is that in life you'll have challenges. And the fact that you have challenges doesn't mean it's the end of the road, number one. And then number two, sometimes we look too far for the solution. And what I mean by that is this. How long have you been employed in your life? In terms of your career?
I can say 13 years.
13 years. What's the industry that you've been in?
Cabin crew.
Cabin crew. So you resigned from that?
No, company got liquidated.
The company got liquidated. So cabin crew, meaning you know a lot about traveling. You know a lot about tourism. You know a lot about hospitality. You know a lot about working with people. Have you ever consulted these skills?
I would say I started a company at baking because I'm...
No, ma'am, you're not hearing my question. Have you ever consulted these skills that you are good at?
I haven't consulted, but I have considered. Yes. because I wanted to do a course in hospitality.
Hey, remember you were talking straight talk with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you straight talk. I'm not asking if you considered. I asked if you've ever done it.
No.
So the answer is no, no more explanations. So you're sitting with skills that you have that you are not using. You've got skills that are required in a market that you understand, but you want to bake. Why are you baking when your skills are this thing that you've done all your life?
And I love communicating as well.
Of course you love communicating because you love talking. And the whole point of the job that you've been doing all your life is communication.
And customer service.
And why are you baking?
I can report something again.
The problem is that we chase something and I want to help everyone. And nalwena reading pinch musage. Agar nankenelets maraker rumunki. Nankenen kibile defensive ankenel. Yeah, lwena skaba defensive. I'm saying to you, each and every one of us has got something that we are good at. And the best way to make money in anything is to do what we are good at. Because we get paid for what we are good at. I won't pay you for baking because you need money, never. Even me, I like you so much. If your cake comes and it falls, jiggies. Like keke ya rona mo. We don't have a cake. We promised you a cake for today. Cake is gone. I said it must go back. They must refund us. Why? We want excellent service. We would rather not have it here than have a terrible cake here whose reputation must go under the line. Rather, we don't have a cake. So what I'm saying to you is your skills, your gifts, what you know is what you need to go back to the drawing board to and say, how do I take this and even consult in an industry that I understand, that I've done for 13 years. That's more than 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours makes you world-class and world competitive.
An expert. You're not an expert in baking. Yeah, so don't bake. Leave baking alone. Also, there's nothing wrong with learning baking while applying your skills elsewhere. Yeah? When I say you're not an expert in baking, I don't mean don't bake at all. I mean, take what you know, apply it to the skill that you want to develop. And be patient. It didn't take 1 year to get into the debt. Took years. But when it's like someone who gains weight over 50 years and they want to lose it in 1 year or in a week, that is like wait. So give it time. Be patient. Negotiate with those you need to negotiate with. Reduce the repayments if you have to. Increase the years if you have to. And come back to the drawing board. If there are schools that you don't afford, take your kids out, take them to a school you afford. You've done all that. Now it's time to build using your skills. These friends, they think this thing is a stock fed. They're busy giving each other the mic. Like that. Oh, it's the networking thing. Che, they don't take it serious, these people, Che. What do you feel about this thing?
No, I don't feel fine. I think we need to please take one question that side and we will try and network quickly after.
Can you just make up for the coffee that I didn't get? I need to ask this question.
Hectic.
I will feel I did get value.
Hey, you're being exposed there. I didn't get coffee.
Yeah, it just disappeared. But one thing you didn't talk about is insurance, right? So I want to know, like in your in the locations, do you take insurance? And I would say that if you go outside of the location, I'm assuming you would take insurance, right? What does that look like in terms of cost? What has been your experience with insurance? So I need some information about that. And the other thing I want to know is, what did you think of money, I want to say before and after, when you, I don't know, at a certain point of your life, what did you think about money? And then now, what do you think about money? So I need your mind around there. Thanks.
Insurance, everything that you do must be insured. You see, that's why I said, even the illegal properties, by illegal, I mean those ones that don't have proper plans in place. Insurance won't pay for that. You told the insurance you're going to stay there. Now you've got 15 people staying there. Insurance won't pay if you don't declare to insurance. Because your insurance cover says you live in the home, isn't it? Now all of a sudden you've got Jabu from Zimbabwe, Jabulani from Natal, the other one from Limpopo. Insurance is like, we didn't know that you are dabbling as a guest house. Everything you do, you must declare. That's how an insurance cover must speak to your needs. So for your insurer, you become upfront. I have this property, but it means your premium will go. I have this property, I have X amount of people staying there, X amount of rooms. Perhaps even say, I don't even know if it's got proper plans, but I want to insure it. It's my asset. They'll send an evaluator, look at it. They will insure you according to what the replacement value and more of that property is. What did I think about money? And what do I think about it?
It's more than just money.
Yeah, it is. But also, I don't want to snub her like that. Because it really is more than just money. But we do think about it, right? And I think she wants to understand what my financial blueprint is. I think in terms of abundance, my thinking is more, and it's because I was raised by my grandmother, right? So meaning my great-grandmother and my grandmother and my mother. And all of those three people, they have one certain trait that I learned personally as a kid. One, because they were selling, I saw money every day. And there was a point, my grandmother, she never banked some money. You know, there was a point in time, people will say I'm lying, but a point in time, do you know those bathtubs we used to bath in? There was a point in time where she brought it home and put so much money in there, 5 rands back in the days. So that's the experience I have. That's all I saw as a kid. I actually thought my grandmother was very rich, very, 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 very. Because even the guy that was a driver was white. She was a shopping queen, but her driver was a white boy. So even my experience with white people, maybe people will say, why does Witness talk like Chief? He was a driver at home. Was she staying in Sentin? No, she was staying in Alexander. But the truth of the matter is, people who know Mam Changan from Alexander, she was famous back in the day. Mam Changan, she had a white driver. She couldn't drive. So my experience with abundance started from her, how she did things, right? And then my mother, now I managed my mother's payslip when I was 16. And her card. So as a kid amongst my friends, I always had abundance. But it also required me to manage it properly. So which introduces us to stewardship. So my thinking, and it can be changed. Thinking patterns can be changed and rewired, right? Even now, when I find myself in a position where the probability is that I'm stuck and I need more, and I don't know what I know it's going to come, man. Honestly. But I always say this, I will always have. I will always have. It's not possible for someone like me to be broke. My mindset, my ability to help people, my ability to solve problems for people, my willingness to learn. Even when things are tough, I know I'll make money. That's how I wire myself. So we need to wire ourselves that way. Might be different for you, but that's my experience.
I'll quickly say this before we take one last question from this side. Do we have a hand at the back?
Yeah.
You can take one there. Can you represent the other? Can one represent the other if you've been networking?
Sure.
Awesome.
I think, let me help this brother, because every single time they raise their hands. So let's rather accommodate them because we might not see them again for a while. So One of you guys perhaps will ask the 2 questions, and then we'll go to the other side.
Thank you. Afternoon. We have been fed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm a feminist, and I'm so impressed with the caliber of men we have here. Witness, thank you so much. James, Kwanele, thank you guys. Dan, he has left. Thank you so much. The caliber of men. I'm fascinated with black men. This is the black men we've been crying for. Thank you so much. I'm from KZN, village called Bambanan, Echozin. I'm rounding off Echozin, but the village is Bambanan. I've been a student for a number of years, and then I spotted some gaps. So my business, registered business, target anything to do with the student. My psyche beyond that is that the student will always be there for centuries. So I'm holding on that. That's the hill I'm willing to die on. My service, my business has to do with the student. So my business is named All Things Students. There is a service that I've been providing. I started as a side thing while I was a student. Then that's where I learned all the business techniques that I know today. However, I now want to extend myself to property. I want to provide accommodation. When I've also learned through all following Mdaka and all other property gurus that property is broad. Whenever I think of property, for me, property is walls, property is a wall, property is zindong. That's what property has been for me. But now I've learned that it's broader than that. So
Sorry, my sister, I'm gonna interrupt you. The question.
I'm sorry. Okay, my question around property. Whenever we ask the question of what is cheaper, is it to build or to buy? I always feel like you're not answering us. It always kind of
Build or buy what?
property.
What property?
As I want to have a student accommodation kind of business.
So tell me something. Let me help you quickly, right? And you are right. I don't answer that question because I feel like it's the most basic thing, right? You've got a property that already exists.
My idea was to build.
It's fine. You've got a property that already exists. You've got money to buy it, clearly. You're going to spend time building something new.
But in the space where I'm coming from, I want to provide the accommodation. I want to have my property that I have built and forever calling mine. That is not inherited from any other history of.
It's about your ego. So we don't nest egos. We do business. That one is your ego talking. It's not the entrepreneurial mindset talking. We must have humility. It doesn't matter who has built the property. The main thing is, can I make money from it? Unless you want to create your own design, which is different. Something new that we've never seen. But what is it that we've never seen about student accommodation? You build a room, you put bed. They're all like that.
I think she just got a light bulb moment.
Isn't it? Don't they all have a bed and a chair?
And a heater that never gets hot.
You know them well.
Where's the last question? Is it this side? Sure, it's my brother.
Malibani, you'll ask me personally. Give someone a chance.
Yeah. Please give me a chance. Please give me a chance. A lot of things have been said here, so I wanted to take this opportunity. You spoke of attention. So because I have attention, I have to market myself a little bit. My name is Mdaka. I'm a professional property manager. I say this because Witness is my mentee, is my mentor. I'm a mentee of his, and I'm taking this opportunity to branch out of my comfort zone and get to study networking for myself.
Sorry, are we all agreeing that this is the last question? Yes. Amazing. Go for it.
Hello, my
is Hwadi. I look like the youngest here. I'm still studying.
How old are you? Don't assume. What if I'm 20? Who's like younger than 20 here?
Oh, yes, young. Students, yes. I just have a question. I'm in a position where I'm in a position where it's either I have to build rooms or buy a property. It's not the same as the lady asked. It's between investing into so let's say I have 300,000 and I can buy a property which can get me close to 6,000, which is going to be mine, or at home build rooms which will accumulate double that figure. So I'm just precarious of which one should I invest in, and maybe I just need guidance on.
Who owns the property though? Do you have siblings?
Yes.
Are you willing to fund their property for them?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
There's two of you. Then do what works for you. Or what? Because at the end of the day, even if you build 100 rooms there, it's not your property. The other one, you have the benefit of ownership. And life is something that we will say you can't control it. You might be getting along today, might not get along tomorrow. That's the reality of life. Yeah, it's better to own something that's yours and do your own partnerships than to be told, hey, I'm a room wako guguamla. Or gugitila. It's my mother's house, this. Yeah, pull up a room wako.
Yo, yeah, take the
Finish your rooms and live here. Hey, you think you're gonna control us because you built rooms here? Yeah, if it's 50-50, it's my property too. Of course, Gogibo.
Sure. I think that was the last question. You want to take one more, two more? Shem, some people are tired. Yeah?
You want to toast? Are you guys gonna toast with us, please?
I think in the meantime, I don't know if you want to say something. No, this is weakness, I'm so jealous. She doesn't know how much that toast to 4 years of it's more than just money as a concept. You know, this started during COVID, when this man decided he's going to start sharing this information and knowledge. So we have a toast for that, and we're going to toast also for 20,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers. May we get more, may it grow, may it double in size in a short period of time. And last but not least, can we have a toast for everyone in the house? So, are you having us? Okay. So you may do it, my brother. You may pop video. Are you ready? And when it pops, can you say, yeah, it's more than just money. Now, 3, 2, 1, go! Thank you to all of you guys for coming. Thank you to all the 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please subscribe, share. Everybody scream witness! Thank you so much. Have a great evening. You guys enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye. Again.
Thank you.
Kwenye patejo guy 500, ne? Guys, 500 if you get around. Like more 500 if you know. So thank you.
Sigo